This week on Supercars Talk, Chaz Mostert declares his distaste for wheel nuts, while Mustang's Domination opens up the parity debate again. The big news this week is that Nick Percat has a new longer-term deal with Matt Stone Racing. He was signed up for the end of 2025, but they've extended that now to the end of 2027, which makes him the longest contracted driver in the category at the moment. Big switch around from the guy who was possibly going to be out of a drive totally this year. Results on the weekend didn't reflect his new big contract. But it is great to see the commitment from both Nick and Matt Stone Racing of extending that partnership into the future. The other big news this week is an ownership change at Triple Eight. This hasn't actually been confirmed by the team, but it also hasn't been denied. It looks like Jess Dane, who moved over to the United States with Shane Van Gisbergen over the summer, has, she's going to sell out to Will Brown's Erebus sponsors, Southern Cross Truck Rentals and Shaw and Partners. Well, the people behind those companies look like they'll be buying Jess Dane's 30% share of Triple Eight, with obviously Tony Quinn having 40% there from what I understand, and Jamie Whincup having the other 30%. So there will be no Danes at the helm of Triple Eight anymore. There was also some co-driver confirmations over the weekend. As suspected, it will be an all Aaron affair in the second Blanchard Racing Team car, with Aaron Cameron confirmed to be driving alongside Aaron Love for the Enduros, and Brad Vaughan has been confirmed as Matt Charter's teammate for the endurance races. They've bought themselves an ex-Brock Feeney Triple Eight Camaro for the campaign. It will be run as the family team once again. And keep an eye out. There will be a video coming up very soon where I get to chat with Brad about this opportunity. Now, normally at this point, I would talk about the Super 2 racing over the weekend, but that will be in a separate video when I get to chat with the boys once again about how their weekends went. So the big talking points of the racing over the weekend, of course, was that lap 1 crash where Anton De Pasquale, Nick Percat and Brody Kostecki got kind of into each other. It was a first lap racing incident. Then Jackson Evans got spun around because Brody couldn't turn into turn 3 there. It was a bit sad to see those guys kind of out of the race straight away. And then obviously the struggles that Triple Eight had over the weekend. The rain shower that didn't happen, really. When that started coming down, my God, I was like, whoever gets into the pits first is going to blaze away. And get those wet tyres on and they'll be gone. And 2 laps later, it was like, where was this rain? When it started coming down, my God, did that look bad on the TV. I'm just thinking back, the Grand Prix last night, they were all coming in for intermediates and it didn't look terrible at all. At Townsville on the weekend, that came down and then disappeared so quickly. And the big talking point over the weekend, I swear Mark Larkham said, "We have nice big dicks," on the telecast when talking about the brake setup on the cars. Maybe I've just got dicks on my mind, but I swear that's what he said. I did like a little reference. I'm pretty sure it was Dave Reynolds, or was it James Courtney, talking about Neil Crompton and the big guns coming out. Have a look on YouTube if you don't get that reference. And once again, I'm going to run through each team over the weekend. We are kicking it off, no surprises here, with the Blanchards. They have overtaken the BJR B team in the standings, we paired the Brad Jones Racing team together. So Courtney made the shootout on Sunday. For quite a while, it actually looked like he was going to have pole there. That was quite a surprise. It went back to normal during the races. Aussie Jack did really well in Super 2. They had 5 cars, I think it was, because they had a couple of Yarises there over the weekend. Maybe they should be focusing on the main 2 rather than bringing on all these other cars. Anyway, next up, we've got Brad Jones Racing. Both Bryce Forward and Andre Heimgartner made the shootout on Saturday. Ended up 9th and 11th on the race. Pretty good start to the weekend. They then seemed to detune the cars for Sunday, though. Just wasn't quite as good. Jackson Evans, he got involved in that lap 1 incident on Saturday. Maybe his qualify, he was 15th. But yeah, if it wasn't for him getting involved in that crash, and then did you see the wheel on the car? It looked like one of those stupid stance things that the young people, the youth of the nation, do to their cars. Interesting there. But yeah, if it wasn't for that incident, you'd be forgiven for even realising that those guys would have turned up. I don't really recall seeing Macca Jones on the coverage at all. Premier Air Racing. They were there. Tim Slade, power steering issues on Saturday, no excuses on Sunday. Jimmy, not much better really. He did get 10th on Sunday. That does keep him 6th in the championship, but very much a nothing weekend from these guys. Next up, we have Erebus. How the mighty have fallen and have stayed kind of fallen. Jack LeBrock, the quiet achiever of the weekend, really. Solid qualifying and both races were really solid. He did win the Camaro Cup for the weekend. He was the most solid there. He did pole position on Sunday as well. That got quickly forgotten. Not a really good start there, and they didn't have the pace of the front runners, but this is what kind of expected of Jack when he joined Erebus. I was expecting weekends like this. He jumps from 13th to 8th in the championship off that strong weekend. This is kind of around where I expected him to be at the start of the year. Brody Kostecki complaining of power steering issues all weekend. Disappointing Saturday, and then Sunday he got in the top 10 shootout, and it's like, okay, we're on here. This is back like Darwin. It was only 9th in the shootout though, and then a bad start. Not kind of any pace in the race. He has jumped Todd Hazelwood in the points now though. It took him 4 rounds to do it in what Todd did in 2. Matt Stone Racing. Well, there was a lot of hype around Nick Percat, 4th in the championship, big new contract in hand, and it all kind of came crashing down over the weekend. Qualified 14th both days, that didn't help the cause. Got involved in that mid-pack crash in lap 1 on Saturday. It's just not the weekend we are expecting of, Nick Percat 4th in the championship, which, funnily enough, he dropped to 9th in the championship. That's how bad his weekend was. On the other hand, Cam Hill qualified 19th both days. Funny, Nick qualified 14th both days. Cam qualified 19th both days. But Cam actually, he had bucket loads of race pace. I think he was spun on lap 1 on Saturday, and somehow he raced to 10th on Saturday. He was like dead last. I was behind the pack. Anyway, 9th on Sunday as well, so did very similar thing, just drove through the pack. Imagine if he could, some of that, like he's had a bit of qualifying, like flashes of brilliance during the year. Imagine if he just even like 11th, 12th, something like that, and kind of race to the front. We could be talking about him, 5th or 6th in the standings by the end of the race. The race pace is definitely there. At least that's something just needs to get on top of qualifying all the time. Team 18. I think the main thing here is that both of them are close to each other, so it shows it's not a driver issue, it's more a team issue. They both qualified badly each day. Shining Light, Frosty, very anonymous kind of 8th position on Sunday. All of a sudden he was in 8th. Nobody knows how he got there and what he was doing there, but he ended up there in the end. That also saw him jump Dave Reynolds in the championship. They are 13th and 15th though. That's nothing to get excited about from these two. Dick Johnson Racing. So Anton last year, he didn't finish Saturday, had a heap of tyres to go and win on Sunday. So thought, well, let's try that strategy again, getting involved in a lap 1 crash on Saturday. Sunday there just wasn't any pace. Like, qualifying though, not bad. 2 7th places on the grid, not bad. Yeah, he had the tyres on Sunday and there just didn't seem to be any pace. Davison, on the other hand, he just had a very stealth weekend, even though, you know, there wasn't the ultimate pace there. He still wasn't too bad results-wise, qualified better than Anton both races, and just, yeah, kind of, he finished both races, he did okay. This did see them drop this weekend down to 5th in the team's championship, though, where they were actually up to 3rd after Darwin. Grove Racing, a tale of two halves from this team over the weekend. While Matty Payne was, you know, battling with the front guys, Richie Stanaway had forgotten how much of an advantage the Mustangs had this weekend and was, you know, battling with mid-pack Camaros all weekend. Yeah, Matt's qualifying, not the best, 9th and 10th in each of the races, but, like, he kind of appeared to come from nowhere, and then all of a sudden he was in the front pack on Saturday, and then the 3-stop strategy on Sunday, amazing. Yeah, just lots and lots of pace. He came out, he had a big lead, just kind of cruised. Well, I'm sure he wasn't cruising, but it just looked, you know, he had a big gap. He just managed it. The biggest complaint from him all weekend, no burnout on the Sunday, but, you know, we can forgive them because they're not coming back to Melbourne between the rounds. They're going to prepare the cars in Townsville and send them straight to Sydney, so that's perfectly understandable. Yeah, not sure what's going on with Stanaway. He was looking quite strong at the start of the year. He seems to have dropped off that pace a little bit, but yeah, Matt Payne just going from strength to strength. Yeah, if this kind of continues, I mean, he's got Garth Tander teaming up with him in the endurance races. It's too early to probably say a championship challenge, but you can see him picking off a few more people in front of him in the championship. And yeah, we finish off with 2 endurance and 2 street circuits. And yeah, I expect him to be strong for the final 4 rounds. Tickford Racing. Well, this weekend, this is what I was expecting. When they announced they were going from 4 cars to 2 cars, I expected, yep, you know, 2 guns in the barrel for every race. Like, yeah, they're going to be battling for this. This is exactly it. Cam Waters, you know, this kind of weekend, if you were talking a few months ago, you'd be, this guy is going to fight for this championship. He is coming from a long way back, but we've still got a lot of racing to go. He's vaulted himself up to 4th in the championship, a win and a second. He was 1st and 2nd on the grid. Just a really, really strong weekend. He even did a really good burnout, which is more than what we can say for the other winner. Thomas, just going from strength to strength this year. He's looking stronger and stronger. He didn't really look like he was ever going to challenge the leaders for the win in either of the races, but he was just behind. Yeah, this is what we want from Tickford. You know, both guys right at the front fighting. They were easily the best team over the weekend. Yeah, just really strong. I'm actually getting a little bit excited about Tickford getting into the fight at the front. Walkinshaw and Andretti United. The biggest issue in race 1, other than Woody's pace, was that the hoarding around the gas bottles in the pit area falling off. And yeah, the last time that happened, Courtney had to take a few weekends off with some broken ribs. Yeah, it just fell off. It wasn't because of a helicopter though. Yeah, Woody, bit disappointing on Saturday, didn't really seem to be any pace, but on Sunday turned it all around. He wasn't challenging the front guys, but he did race through the field for 6th position, so pretty strong there, and he did kind of turn his weekend around. Yeah, it's hard to forget, sometimes it's easy to forget that he is still a rookie. He's not tearing up any equipment. He seems to be learning on the way through, doing a pretty good job, really, and especially when you consider where that car was last year. Chaz, just really strong all weekend, kind of showing why he is the best of the rest. Potentially, I mean, wheel nuts aside, could he have done a bit more this weekend to reduce that gap to the Triple Eight boys? Well, of course he could. But yeah, even Sunday, he only qualified 8th, got back through to 3rd. Yeah, it's just a strong weekend, which puts him solidly in that 3rd position in the points. Now, 888. Normally you can't criticise these guys too much, but maybe we should be thanking them for, you know, opening up the possibility for some different people to win and, you know, maybe talk about other people challenging for the championship. They did kind of open themselves up for it this weekend. Brown missed the top 10 shootout on Saturday and, just somehow raced to 3rd position. He was like, okay, just a typical Brown 888 weekend. This man, even if he qualifies badly, he just drives to the front and gets himself a podium. He'll just do the same thing on Sunday when he qualified bad. But no, he forgot that David Reynolds was next to him or didn't see him or whatever, turned in on him going into turn 3, into the wall. You know, these things happen. One thing, I was very surprised when he came in, like it looked like a lot more damage at first. I was surprised they didn't try and put a new front bar on. I thought, well, he's going to be going nowhere, like that's going to be a dog to drive. Granted, it had no pace, but I was surprised at how kind of close to the pace of other cars it was. I was expecting him to be, you know, like 20 seconds a lap off the pace. He actually wasn't that far off the pace. It shows you, I suppose, how little downforce these cars have compared to the previous ones. Because I think if you'd done that kind of damage in a ZB Commodore, yeah, you would have definitely been trying to put a front splitter on it or maybe try and rip the thing off and start again. The weekend could have been a lot worse for him. It wasn't great, but he's still got a championship lead because Brock Feeney, it wasn't a bad weekend, but it's not what a 888 driver should be doing. And we've probably had this conversation about Feeney a few too many times this year. The lead has come down to 78 points. It's like halved. But this weekend, he really could have, you know, grabbed it by the balls and, turn that lead, well, Will Brown's lead into nothing and really, really open up the championship lead. You've got to remember Feeney's got Wing Cup with him for the endurance races, so something will go wrong at Bathurst. There's all that's got to be, you know, brought into it. But at least there is the hope that other people will challenge them for some, you know, wins, maybe probably not the championship at this rate, but at least, you know, some other people are getting wins in. So that's my review of the Townsville weekend. It was great racing over the whole weekend. We had different people challenging. There were Mustangs up the front. It was really exciting. I really enjoyed it. Down in the comments, let me know what you think about, well, what you thought about the racing over the weekend. As I said, keep an eye out. I will do a separate Super 2 video when I get to interview Campbell Logan and Brad Vaughan about their weekends. Plus, I'm going to hopefully be doing a mid-season report card, seeing as though we are in the middle of the season now. We've gone through half the races. We've got half the races to go, so keep an eye out for that. But until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.